Session is being recorded. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will explain lab number 2 in the advanced networking course. So this course is about advanced networking. We reached lab number 2 on how to configure a basic router. So the router is a layer 3 device. It is in the network layer, in the OSI layers, and it is used to connect two different LANs, two different local area networks, having different subnets. So what is the objective? Is to configure end user devices with IP address, configure and verify router interface configuration, and to test connectivity. Let us start. We'll start by drawing this topology. First, I have the PC from the end user devices. I'll drag and drop PC 0, laptop. I'll drag and drop laptop 0. What else I have? A switch 0. I will go to network devices, switches. Switch, I will select 2960 because he did not specify to me which switch I use. I will use 2960. And I need one router and server. I will go to routers. I will select 4331 router that connects between two different local area networks, and I need one server, so I will go to end user devices and I will select the server. Now I have added all the necessary components, all the necessary network components that is present in this topology. Now I need to connect. Between PC and the switch, I will use the crossover cable, a straight through cable. Between PC and the switch, between laptop and the switch, I will use the straight through cable. Between a switch and router, I will use the straight through cable. Top. When do I use the crossover cable? The crossover cable is used between two similar devices like switch and the switch, router and router, or even between router and server. We'll use the crossover cable. So let us connect. I will connect first a straight through cable from PC 0 port fast Ethernet 0 to switch 0 port fast Ethernet 012. I will click on straight through cable. I will click on PC fast Ethernet 0. Then I will select fast Ethernet 0/12 for the switch. Okay. And here I will connect the laptop on fast Ethernet 0 port to fast Ethernet 0 for switch port. Straight through cable. I will click on the laptop, select fast Ethernet 0, then I will click on the switch and select fast Ethernet 04. After that, I need to connect the switch on the port fast Ethernet 015 to the router on the port gigabit 0/0/0. I will select the straight through cable, click on the switch. I select fast Ethernet 015 port. Then I will connect the cable to the router on the port gigabit Ethernet 0/0. There is still one cable, which is the crossover cable between router and the server. I will connect from the router port gigabit 0/0/1 to the server fast Ethernet /0. 0/0/1 to the server fast Ethernet /0. Okay. Now you can realize that in this topology, you can realize that these interfaces are down. It's red mark. Red mark means these interfaces are down. Okay. So to connect, to make this up, I need to configure IP addresses for the router. Okay. But this step will come later in this step. So let us start. First, I need to configure PC 0 with an IP address and subnet mask. Also, I need to configure a laptop 0 with an IP address and subnet mask. Similarly, for the server, I need to configure it with an IP address and subnet mask. So let us start. I will go to PC 0, double click, desktop, IP config, and I will add the IP address, which is 172.50.80.8. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Now I will select the laptop. Desktop IP configuration. What is the IP address? 172.50.90.9. 172.50. I will add the IP address here. .90.9. What is the subnet mask? 255.255.0.0. Great. Let us now put the IP configuration for the server. I'll go to the server. I will double click on it. I will go to desktop, then IP configuration, and here I can add the IP address for the server 172.40.100.100, and the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. By doing this, let me save it as lab2. Save as lab2. By doing this, now I have configured PC0 with IP address and subnet mask, laptop 0 with IP address and subnet mask. You can hover the mouse on these devices and check the IP address that you put with the subnet mask /16. /16 means 255.255.0.0. Okay, now let us ping. He's asking us to ping from PC0 to laptop 0. Okay, I will ping from PC0. I will select this PDU. You can ping in two ways. Either you select the PDU and press on PC0 and laptop 0. Then you can check the status here that the ping is successful. Or you go double click on PC0, command prompt, and you add the ping command here. Ping. What is the IP address of the laptop? 172.50.90.9. 172.50.90.9. I'm pinging from the PC0 to laptop 0. So it is reachable. Let us ping from PC0 to server 0. It is not reachable. I'll go to command prompt. Ping 172.40.100.100, right? 172.40.100.100. Ping. It is not reachable. Why it is not reachable? And why these are reachable? The PC and the laptop, they can reach each other's because they are on the same local area network. They are connected to switch. They are on the same network, so they can reach each other's even if there is no default gateway. They are on the same network, so it is enough that I connect this with a switch and they can communicate with each other. Whereas the server is in a local area network which is different from these PCs. The server is in a subnet different from these PCs. For this reason, I cannot ping from the PC to the server without having a router. Not only I need to have a router and I need to configure its interfaces. So for the PCs to be able to communicate with a server in a different network, I need a router. The job of the router, the function of the router is to connect between two different networks, between two different subnets, between two different local area networks. This is the function of the router. So I need to configure the router. Then I need to configure the default gateways for the PC and the laptop and for the server. Let us start. Double click on the router. I can configure the router in two ways. From the CLI. Would you like to enter the initial configuration? No. So I can configure it from the CLI and from the config. Okay. I will do both. configure the router interfaces as shown in the figure. Okay, I need to configure the router interfaces as shown in the figure. So the first IP address is 172.50.0.1. This is for the gigabit 0/0/0, and the IP address for the gigabit 0/0/1 is 172.40.0.1. The subnet mask for both is 255.255.0.0, which is /16. I will go to gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. I'll put the IP address 172. For sure, I am under the config tab. Then I pressed on the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. Now I will enter the IP address, which is 172.50.0.1. Subnet mask is 255.255.0.0, and I will put on. Similarly for the second port, I will enter the IP address 172.40.0.1, and the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. So I have entered the IP address subnet mask, and don't forget to put stick on the on, so as to make the port no shutdown. Okay, from the CLI you can write this configuration: show run interface gigabit 0/0/0. Show run. You can see the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0 along with IP address 172.50.0.1 and 255.255.0.0. So from the CLI you can write this command: IP address, then you write the IP address and next to it the subnet mask. And don't forget to put no shutdown. Similarly for interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/1, you will put the IP address 172.40.0.1, 255.255.0.0, and don't forget to put the no shutdown command. From the config, it's enough to put the IP address and subnet mask and select on. On means no shut, it's not shut down. Okay. So by doing this, I have configured the IP addresses for the router. Now, can I ping from laptop to server? No. Why no? Because I need to put the default gateways for the PC and the laptop. What will be the default gateway for the PC and the laptop? It is the IP address of this router interface, because the PC and the laptop will reach the other network using this IP address of the router. So the PC and the laptop, which are in this network, can reach the other network through this interface of the laptop. So this is their gateway. The IP address of this interface is their gateway. What is the gateway? 172.50.0.1. I will go to the PC1, desktop, IP configuration, 172. I will put the gateway 172.50.0.1. Similarly for the laptop, I will go to desktop, IP config, and I will add the default gateway 172.50.0.1. Now the gateway for this PC and this laptop is the IP address of this interface of the gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. Also, I need to add the default gateway for the server, which is the IP address of this router interface, gigabit Ethernet 001. What is the IP address? 172.40.0.1. I will add here in the default gateway 172.40.0.1. Now the laptop can reach the router, right? The PC can reach the router, right? And the server can reach the router, right? So in this case, I can ping between the laptop and the server because both they can reach each other through the router. Both of them can reach the router, and from the router they can reach their destination. So laptop 0 can reach server 0 through router 0, and PC 0 can reach server 0 through router 0, and the opposite, server 0 can reach PC 0 through router 0. So the router can connect between two different networks, various networks, both having different subnets. This is the main idea of the router, is to connect between two different networks. Okay, so this is the main idea of the lab, which is an introductory lab on how to configure a basic router. The router is a layer 3 device. It is the router is in a layer 3 device. It is in the network layer, in the OSI layers, which contains application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical. So this router, in the conclusion of the lab, we know that the routers will need many interfaces to be configured. In our case, only two interfaces are needed because I only have two different networks. In some cases, we need to configure many interfaces to the router, and each interface will have different IP address, which is a different subnet. Each interface will have an IP address and different subnet from other interfaces. Each interface is a different subnet, correct? Devices should set the IP of the router in their same subnet as their default gateway. So devices like PC0 and laptop 0 should put their default gateway. What should be their default gateway? The IP address of this router interface, because they will reach other network through this interface. And the server is server 0. What is his default gateway? Is the IP address of the router of this interface, because he will reach other network through this interface. Initially, he doesn't know anything about this interface. Gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. The server 0 only knows the interface gigabit 0/0/1. So he can use the IP address of this interface to reach other networks. So by reaching this, we have finished our lab. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to send me email on Muhammad jshihab@gmail.com. Okay.